The ruby necklace caught the light as my sister-in-law Lauren turned her head, the deep red stones seeming to pulse against her throat. My grandmother's necklace. The one she'd worn to her own wedding in 1952. The one that had supposedly gone missing during the family's Thanksgiving visit to my home just 3 days ago. Oh, this old thing? Lauren laughed, her fingers dancing over the rubies when she caught me staring. Richard bought it for me at an estate sale. Isn't it gorgeous? The seller said it was from the 1950s. Such a coincidence that it looks like your grandmother's. Beside her, my husband Daniel shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. He never did when his family was involved. My name is Eleanor Chin Morrison, and I'm 42 years old. I'm a forensic accountant by trade, which means I'm very good at finding things people want to keep hidden. It's a skill that served me well in my career, but I never thought I'd need to use it against my own family. Then again, I never thought my husband's family would steal $2 million worth of heirloom jewelry from my dying grandmother's collection either. It's not a coincidence, I said calmly, setting down my wine glass at my mother-in-law Patricia's anniversary dinner. That's my grandmother's necklace, the one that went missing from my safe. The table went silent. Richard, Lauren's husband and Daniel's older brother, smirked. That's a serious accusation, Eleanor. Do you have any proof? The safe was opened with the combination, Patricia added, her voice honeyed poison. Only family knew that combination. Are you suggesting we're thieves? I'm not suggesting anything, I replied. I'm stating a fact. 23 pieces of jewelry worth approximately $2 million vanished from my safe during your Thanksgiving visit. Now Lauren's wearing one of them. Lauren's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Prove it was us. This necklace came with papers from the estate sale. Legal papers. If you're so upset about your missing jewelry, maybe you should check with your insurance company. Or maybe you just misplaced them. You have been under so much stress with your grandmother being ill. The cruelty of that last comment, referencing my grandmother who was in hospice care, made my hands clench under the table. But I kept my face neutral. I'd learned long ago that showing emotion to the Morrison family was like showing blood to sharks. You're right, I said, surprising them with my calm agreement. I should handle this through proper channels. Daniel finally spoke up, his voice weak. Honey, maybe we should discuss this at home. No need, I cut him off. Lauren's right. I need proof. So I'll find it. Richard raised his glass mockingly. Good luck with that. Now, can we get back to celebrating Mom and Dad's anniversary? Some of us came here to enjoy family time, not make wild accusations. I smiled and raised my own glass. To family. What they didn't know was that I'd already found my proof. And so much more. The security system I'd installed in my home wasn't the obvious one. Not the cameras they'd carefully avoided or disabled during their visit. It was the secondary system, hidden in everyday objects, that had captured everything. Lauren rifling through my grandmother's jewelry. Richard standing watch. Patricia directing them to specific pieces. Even Daniel's brother Matthew, the good son, pocketing several rings. But the jewelry theft, devastating as it was, had opened a door to something bigger. In my fury and grief, I'd started digging into the Morrison family finances. What I found would make my stolen jewelry look like pocket change. The Morrisons owned a successful chain of high-end furniture stores across 3 states. On paper, they were pillars of the community, charitable, successful, clean. But paper can hide a lot of sins, and I was very good at finding what was hidden. 3 days after the anniversary dinner, I sat in my home office reviewing everything I'd compiled. Tax returns that didn't match. Offshore accounts in the Caymans. A complex web of shell companies designed to launder money and evade taxes. Employee complaints buried by expensive lawyers. Government contracts obtained through bribes. They'd stolen from more than just me. They'd stolen from their employees through wage theft. From taxpayers through evasion. From competitors through corporate espionage. My jewelry was just the latest in a long line of thefts, but it would be their last. I picked up my phone and made the first call. Diane? It's Eleanor Chin Morrison. I have something that might interest your investigation into furniture industry price fixing. Diane Winters was a federal prosecutor I'd worked with on several cases. She'd been trying to crack the furniture cartel for 3 years. Eleanor, what have you got? Everything, I said. But I need you to move fast. And I need you to coordinate with the IRS Criminal Division. How much are we talking about? 15 years of tax evasion. Approximately $50 million hidden offshore. And that's just the beginning. I heard her sharp intake of breath. How solid is this? I have documents, recordings, and video evidence, including footage of them discussing their methods. Christ. How did you? They stole from the wrong person, I said simply. How fast can you move? Give me 48 hours to coordinate with the agencies. Can you hold off that long? I've held off for 3 days already. What's 2 more? My second call was to my grandmother's estate lawyer. Bernard, I need you to file police reports for the stolen jewelry immediately. I have video evidence of the theft. Eleanor, are you certain you want to pursue this? These are your husband's family members. They stole my dying grandmother's jewelry, Bernard. Pieces that survived the Holocaust that she carried across oceans that represent our entire family history. So yes, I'm certain. I'll file this afternoon. With video evidence, we can also pursue civil charges. Do it all, I said. Every legal avenue available. My third call was the hardest. My grandmother, though weak, was still lucid in her hospice bed. Grandma, I found your jewelry. Her eyes, still sharp despite her 94 years, focused on me. The Morrisons? I nodded. She'd never liked Daniel's family, had warned me about them from the beginning. A family of takers, she'd called them. They smile while they rob you blind. Good, she whispered. And Eleanor? Make them pay for more than just the jewelry. Already in motion, Grandma. She smiled then, the fierce smile that had carried her through war and loss and rebuilding. That's my girl. Your grandfather would be proud. That evening, Daniel came home late, as he had been since Thanksgiving. He couldn't meet my eyes as he poured himself a drink. About the jewelry. I don't want to discuss it, I said, continuing to cook dinner as if nothing was wrong. Your family made their position clear. He relaxed slightly, mistaking my calm for defeat. It's probably for the best. You know how they are. And Lauren really did buy that necklace at an estate sale. She showed me the receipt. I'm sure she did, I agreed. Forged receipts were probably the least of his family's crimes. So we're okay, he asked hopefully. You're not going to make this into a thing? I turned to look at my husband of 12 years. The man who'd stood by while his family robbed me. Who'd known the combination to my safe because I'd trusted him. Who was now trying to gaslight me into accepting the theft. We're fine, I lied. Just tired. Grandma isn't doing well. I'm sorry, he said, though he didn't sound it. Maybe after everything settles, we could take a vacation. Mom mentioned they're planning a family trip to Europe this summer. With the money from my grandmother's jewelry, no doubt. That sounds nice. 2 days later, at exactly 6 a.m., the Morrison family empire came crashing down. The FBI raided their offices, homes, and warehouses simultaneously. Federal agents seized computers, documents, and boxes of evidence. The IRS froze every account they could find. The Department of Labor arrived with their own warrants. My phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Daniel, screaming. What did you do? I have no idea what you're talking about, I said calmly, sipping my coffee as I watched the news report of the raids. The FBI is at my parents' house. They're at the offices. They're arresting Richard. Oh my. What for? They're saying tax evasion. Money laundering. Where are you? At the office, I lied. I was actually at my lawyer's office, having filed for divorce an hour earlier. I have that big audit presentation today, remember? This is you, he screamed. You did this because of the jewelry. Daniel, your family assured me they didn't take the jewelry. Are you saying they lied? That they're actually thieves? He hung up. By noon, the news was everywhere. Morrison Furniture Empire raided in federal investigation. Family business accused of massive tax fraud. Employees come forward with wage theft allegations. Lauren's Facebook post from that morning. A selfie wearing my grandmother's emerald bracelet with the caption "Blessed and highly favored" hadn't aged well. The FBI had seized that bracelet, along with all the other jewelry they'd found in her home. My security footage made it clear where they'd come from. Patricia called me that afternoon from a number I didn't recognize. Hers had been seized. You vicious little bitch, she hissed. You've destroyed us over some old jewelry? I didn't destroy anything, I replied. I simply reported crimes. Multiple crimes. Though I am curious how you'll explain to the FBI why you have $50 million in offshore accounts that were never reported to the IRS. That's private family business. Not anymore. Oh, and Patricia? The wage theft investigation is particularly interesting. 20 years of stealing overtime from your warehouse workers. That's going to be expensive. We'll sue you for everything you have. With what money? I believe all your accounts are frozen. Besides, truth is an absolute defense. Everything I reported was true, wasn't it? She cursed me in 3 languages before hanging up. The criminal trials took 2 years. Richard got 8 years for money laundering and tax evasion. Patricia got 5 years. Matthew got 3. Lauren got 2 years for receiving stolen property and conspiracy. Daniel, who had miraculously managed to avoid direct involvement in the financial crimes, still lost everything in the divorce. Hard to claim you deserve alimony when your family stole millions from your spouse's grandmother. You planned this, he accused during one of our last meetings. You let them steal the jewelry so you could destroy them. I didn't let them do anything, I corrected. I simply prepared for the possibility that thieves might steal. And when they did, I made sure they faced consequences. Your family taught me that proof was everything. So I found proof. Of everything. The recovered jewelry was returned to me, along with a substantial reward from the IRS whistleblower program. 15% of the recovered tax fraud, nearly $7 million. I donated half to charity in my grandmother's name and used the rest to ensure she had the best possible care in her final months. She lived long enough to see the first guilty verdict. We watched the news together, her frail hand holding mine. They thought we were weak, she said. They thought because we were kind, we were easy marks. They were wrong, I said. Yes, she agreed, fingering the ruby necklace that once again lay against her throat. They stole from the wrong family. My grandmother passed peacefully a week later, surrounded by family and wearing her complete jewelry collection. At her funeral, I spoke about her strength, her resilience, and her belief in justice. Daniel didn't attend. He'd moved across the country, changed his name, and was working at a used car dealership. The Morrison furniture empire had been liquidated to pay fines, back taxes, and wage theft settlements. The family scattered, their reputation destroyed, their fortune gone. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far. If I should have just accepted the theft and moved on. Then I remember Lauren's mocking laugh, Patricia's cruel smile, Richard's smug certainty that they were untouchable. They'd stolen from me because they thought they could. Because they believed I was just the quiet daughter-in-law who would accept whatever they did. Because they'd been stealing for so long, they'd forgotten it was wrong. My grandmother's jewelry was never just about money. It was about history, memory, and survival. Each piece carried stories of love and loss, of perseverance through persecution. The Morrisons saw only dollar signs and took what wasn't theirs. But I'm a forensic accountant. I see patterns. I find connections. I uncover truth. They took my grandmother's jewelry, so I took their future. They demanded proof, so I gave them proof of every crime, every theft, every lie they'd built their empire on. The security footage of the jewelry theft was just the beginning. The real evidence was in their own records, their own greed, their own certainty that they were above consequences. $2 million in jewelry started it. $50 million in fraud ended it. They should have just admired the necklace from afar. They should have complimented my grandmother's taste. They should have been family instead of thieves. But they weren't. So I wasn't either. I was just a forensic accountant with security cameras and a grandmother who taught me to never let anyone steal what was mine. The Morrisons learned too late that sometimes the quiet ones aren't weak. They're just gathering evidence. And when you steal from them, when you mock their pain and demand proof of your crimes, don't be surprised when they provide exactly that. Proof. Of everything. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.